Good morning. We're here with their show Trials and Tribulations once again.
Trials and Triumphs.
Oh, Trials and Triumphs. Excuse me. I got my own show wrong. I guess I'm reading the Bible too much. I like tribulation. Okay, Trials and Triumphs. My friend Laura Zering has joined me again today, and today our subject is going to be on suicide and, dealing with that and some of the things that people tell you when you have a family member that's committed suicide. I was telling Laura earlier that when my son was in high school, and that was in the 90s, I went to 32 funerals for young people. Part of them were murdered, part of them were suicide. A lot of them were suicides, actually. And it was really so upsetting to me because, these kids didn't feel like they had anybody to talk to or any place to turn.
Yes.
That's back when I was taking kids into my house right and left. I mean,
yes.
Other kids brought home dogs and cats. My kids brought home
Kids.
So, my heart has always been with them. Well, Laura's here today because she's had 2 nephews commit suicide.
Yes.
And we want to talk about the after effects of that and, trying to understand how this comes about and, what's going on there.
Yes.
Now, what were your nephews' names?
Joey and Cody.
Joey and Cody.
Yes.
Okay. They both committed suicide, and people don't seem to understand that suicide is just definitely into a really deep depression.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's a sickness behind suicide.
Yes. Amen. There is, sister.
They don't quite understand that. And so, when somebody commits suicide, I know that people, especially your sister and yourself, probably think, I didn't do enough.
Right.
Or I made the situation worse, or, I could have stopped them.
Yes.
Or I shouldn't have left them alone, or I didn't realize how bad they really felt.
Yes.
And, it's hard to make people remember that it was that individual's decision.
Absolutely.
It's out of your control.
Yes.
And it wasn't your fault.
Not at all. Not at all.
I know your sister questions herself quite frequently on that, doesn't she?
Yes.
And when somebody commits suicide, how did it make you feel initially?
First shock. I suppose still shocked some days, sister. And you always do wonder, I suppose, what could we have done different? What should we have done? But like you said, there was nothing we could have done.
No, it was their decision.
Their decision, yes, absolutely.
And then you have to accept the fact that, you have to accept your emotions, your shock,
yes.
your fear.
Yes.
And you need to remember after someone has committed suicide, I know this was hard for your sister. She and I talked back and forth on Facebook. You don't worry about what you should feel.
Right.
Nobody can tell you what you should feel.
No.
And you have to figure out how to care for yourself. That's a hard thing to do after a suicide, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, to move forward.
And people forget that they have an existing support system.
Absolutely.
That they need to reach out to.
Yes. Yes.
Your sister accepted all of our condolences and stuff in the women's group quite well.
Very well.
And I think that helped her somewhat.
It did. That helped her to heal somewhat, at that time. Yes. Mm-hmm. And she will still bring that up, how much that helped her.
Yeah. Well, there's so many steps to grief. They say there's 5. I don't remember what order they put those 5 in, but, I come across with 6 in my own mind. First it's shock.
Yes.
Like you said.
Right.
And then you get into a denial section.
Yes.
And then you start feeling guilty.
Guilty. Yes.
And then you get sad.
Yes.
And then you just get mad.
I was going to say anger, definitely. Anger. Yes.
Anger. And then, if you can find that support system and so forth, then you have to come to the acceptance.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
but society puts so many stigmas on
Oh,
suicide.
yes, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
they kind of isolate you, and they don't know how
Yes.
to talk about it, do they?
No, they don't. No, they don't.
You know, and
And a lot of people told my sister that when she would say, well, nobody comes, like from the family.
mhm,
And they would say, well, we don't know what to say. Well, it hurt her more because they didn't even reach out
mhm,
and, say, I'm sorry or anything.
yeah,
They didn't call and say, we're checking on you. We love you. That wasn't there.
mhm.
And
You
that
know,
was hard.
that also puts the survivor at risk because
Yes.
now they're feeling
They're
isolated.
absolutely,
You know,
absolutely. Then they hit that depression.
mhm. And then you have those that come out and sorry about this. People who will tell you, the Catholic Church especially, that if
Yes.
you commit suicide, you're going to
Going to
hell.
hell. Yes. My
They
some
never,
said that to my sister. Yes.
they never get past
No,
and look at what it really says in Scripture. Do
that's
they?
right.
You know,
No, they do not.
they're going on something that was put in place as dogma back in like 541.
Yes. 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 And that needs to be changed. It really does.
Yeah, suicide comes about as a deathly end to a deep depression.
Depression. Yes.
You know,
Yes. Absolutely.
there's nothing you can do to have
No.
stopped them. They are depressed, they are hurting,
Yes.
whatever the case may be. Um, you know, most who choose suicide, they have a mental or an emotional health problem.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's not
Absolutely.
that they're trying to murder themselves, they're trying to
No.
put an end to their
The
pain.
pain. Yes. Yes.
And you may never know what that pain was.
No, no. And that goes back then to the stigma, I believe, of mental health, that society has made that a shameful thing.
Mm-hmm.
So why would someone want to reach out when that's what society has made that?
Yeah. It's a emotional problem. They're probably
Yes.
depressed, they're probably bipolar, they're probably
Yes.
PTSD,
Absolutely.
something of that nature.
Yes.
They may never have been diagnosed. They will never
No.
get diagnosed
No.
after their death.
No.
But if you look back at their life, you could probably see signs.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Things that had hurt them
Them.
and made them have problems.
Yes.
Maybe they've got relationship issues.
Yes.
Substance abuse,
Abuse.
physical and health issues,
Yes.
bullying,
Yes.
legal difficulties.
Yes, absolutely. All aspects of life. I mean, that, they can be depressed about.
It just
And-
kind of wears on them, doesn't
Yes. Oh, very much so. Very much so. And then with that depression, then if they throw in the alcohol and the drugs
it?
to try to help, I believe that then hinders it, makes it worse.
Because someone who's suicidal, they've got this skewed view of what's happening to them.
Yes.
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 They're in so much pain that the
Yes.
only way they can see to escape that pain is by taking their own life.
Own life. Yes. Yes.
And then after that's said and done,
Yes.
then everybody wants to point fingers, don't they?
Absolutely.
I know when
Absolutely.
my son's when my son was in high school, there were so many of those children who died, and one of my son's best friends, they were together the night before, making all these future plans
Wow.
and talking about the cars and trucks and so forth. And my son's best friend, Freddie, the next morning got up out of bed, and when everybody left for school,
Oh.
he got a shotgun and blew his own head off.
Oh my.
You know,
But had just the night before been looking for all these wonderful plans.
And then immediately the dad, and I understand what he was doing. I mean, I loved his dad immensely, and
Yes.
I'd grown up with his mom and everything. And the dad immediately, when he first saw my son, he came up and grabbed him by the shirt and said, "What did you do?"
Yes.
And it's
They want to blame someone.
they had to blame
Had to
someone.
blame someone. Yes.
And it's like he didn't do
Yes.
anything.
No, that's right. No, they were making plans for life together.
Mm-hmm.
And-
and they'd known each other since they were born.
Yes. Yes.
So, but you have to allow that individual, the survivor,
Yes.
to feel their feelings.
Yes. Yes. They
Yeah.
need to go through each step.
You
Absolutely.
cannot dictate to them how to
No.
feel.
No. No.
And there's no end to their grieving
Grief.
process either.
No, never. Never.
People try to tell you, oh, they've been gone long enough, you need to get over it and so forth.
No.
Don't allow
Anyone to tell you that.
ever
Never.
to tell
No.
you that, you need to get over it now.
No.
You
No
know,
way.
Um,
That was a part of them, as as
Mhm.
parents. That was
you know,
his son. And yes.
because all those people who have committed suicide, they have gone into what researchers and psychologists would call a complicated grief.
Yes. Absolutely.
They've got a major depression
Yes.
or psychological trauma,
yes.
persistent anxiety, PTSD,
Yes.
all of
yes.
those things. And if you don't watch your own self and you take all of the negative things that people say to you to
Yes,
heart,
to heart.
then
And people in them situations do, I believe.
they get into their survivor gets in their own
Yes,
grief.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
you've got to understand that you cannot put somebody down that way.
No, no, no. It would be our job to be lifting them, encouraging them.
They deserve that respect, and they deserve
Yes.
to have their loved one honored and remembered.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Some people
Yes.
just try to write them off, and this is a
Yes.
bad situation in the family. This happened, and we don't want
Right.
to talk about it.
And we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
And we need to remember the good memories. They were
Mhm.
people. They were children of God.
Mm-hmm.
They were loved ones.
Yeah, you've got
So
you've got to allow yourself to put them back and honor them.
yes.
You can't dwell on it forever and stay in this depression.
Right.
You've got to move
Right,
on
you've
with
got to
you.
move on. Yes.
But that doesn't mean you have to forget.
No, never forget. Remember the good memories.
Yeah,
Remember the good memories. Talk about them.
talk about them. Some people get really uncomfortable trying to talk to somebody who's had a
Yes.
suicide in their family.
Right.
But you have to understand that that person didn't commit suicide. That person who's still here
Yes.
needs you.
Yes, absolutely.
And you can't automatically think that they did something wrong
No,
just because
No.
their child committed suicide
Not
or
at
anything
all.
of that nature.
not at all.
And those of us who have to deal with their survivors after that, we need to understand and allow them to feel and express their emotions.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So many people bottle it
Yes.
up.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about it.
And that's unhealthy.
There's
That's
nothing healthy
unhealthy.
about it.
No.
And some of the things that I've found over the years is, you have to be able to talk about the person.
Yes.
And sometimes it helps to like keep a journal
Yes.
of your days and what's going on.
Yes.
And you have to remember that that person's life was more than suicide.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I said focus on them good memories.
Mm-hmm.
In that way, and then you can still keep them memories alive.
I know that my son died of a heart attack, but still, it was
So
a
sorry.
shock to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, I had to move past that. But in order to do so, I set up a little shrine type thing to my son,
Yes.
And
Yes.
I would hope that your sister has done the same
Yes.
thing.
Yes,
She's
she
got
has.
put a little
Yes.
shrine up to them so you can
Yes.
remember them. You have to remember the good times.
Absolutely. Yes.
And you have to learn, remember to take care of yourself
Self.
also.
Yes. Because people are still here that need you too, them too,
Mm-hmm. And, you've got to be patient with yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Nothing is quick. I mean, grief,
Mhm.
healing, any of that. None of that's quick.
Yeah.
That's all through processes. So,
Yeah, I know your sister, it took quite a little while for your sister to kind of get herself back together and get
Yes.
back to work, didn't it?
yes, it's been almost 4 years, and she just recently went back to work. She had went to work probably the second year, but really struggled.
Mm-hmm.
Really struggled. It was hard to leave the house.
Yeah.
And just recently went back to work, and I think it's going to work better this time. It just took the time.
Yeah. She had to have that alone time and that
Yes.
grieving time.
Absolutely.
I've heard so many people tell me that after a year, you have to stop grieving.
No, absolutely not.
that's not the case at
No,
all.
no, no. Grief has no time limit.
There's no
You
time
know.
limit. You'll feel that hurt the rest of your life.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
And you have to figure out how to deal with that and get past it.
Yes.
And you have to learn to accept your own emotions.
Yes. Yes.
It's not that you hate the person, but some days you're going to be so mad at that person
Yes.
for leaving.
Absolutely. Why did you do it?
Yeah.
Why did you? And they feel like they did it, angry at them maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose that's a natural feeling. Why did they do it? Was they mad at me? And then they're mad at them.
And you have to remember that nobody can tell you how you should feel.
No, not at all. No, we all react differently
Mm-hmm.
and at different times. Just because there's the 5 or 6 stages as you was talking about, we don't have to go through them in order. We may all go different orders,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay.
It's okay to do that.
Yes.
You have to find what works for you.
Absolutely.
Then, did your sister or any of you find yourself feeling isolated because people wouldn't come around?
My sisters, yes, absolutely. Yes.
Um,
Yes. After we had went home and the sister groups, that we were together in, continued reaching out for that year. But one aunt would come
mm-hmm.
all the time. And that was her lifesaver. And my sister will still tell you that was her lifesaver. And my aunt, Christy, and me and Vicky, my sister, still text each other. We have a text, and we have had for a couple of years. And we'll just say, hey, how you doing? Or send hearts or whatever you want, just so we know, hey, we're okay. We're still here together.
Mm-hmm.
But other people, no.
And you have to understand that you may never know why.
Right.
They may leave you a suicide note, but that may not tell you why.
Why? No.
They don't really know for themselves.
No, not at all.
I know my son's best friend, when he committed suicide, he did leave a note.
Mm-hmm.
But what broke my heart is the fact that he said, I'll just never fit in anywhere.
Oh, how sad.
And
yes.
He killed himself. And,
yes.
That note really didn't explain what was going on.
Yes, no.
He was a beautiful boy. I mean,
yes.
and
yes.
he was an outdoorsy type and so forth.
Right.
And it was during the years whenever everybody had long hair at school. Well, he kept his really short, like ours.
yes.
And so he didn't feel like he was going to fit in. His parents never took him out to eat or anything like that. So I took him to a restaurant once.
Yes.
And he felt so out of place. And after he finished eating, he wanted to get up and take his plate to the kitchen. And I'm going, no, you can sit down here. It's okay. They'll come and do that.
Yes.
And just trying to reach out and make him understand that, we want you around here.
Yes.
I think you're pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But, teenage boys especially, they kind of shut themselves off, I think. They want to understand that.
Right.
Now, where we live, we've also had a number of gentlemen commit suicide lately.
Yes.
That one, I understand kind of basically where their mind is, because something's happened to them. Most of them have been sick.
Yes.
They have been sick.
Yes.
It's cancer or Alzheimer's,
yes.
Early onset Alzheimer's and all that other stuff. And they haven't figured out how to deal with that, and they don't want to burden people.
That's right.
And, so in the last 10 years, I've had 4 gentlemen friends in Stockton commit suicide.
Yes. And it seems like we get more and more. I mean, every year, there's one or two more. Mm-hmm. And we got to get men past that stigma of they can't reach out, and don't be ashamed to reach out.
Mm-hmm.
There's people there that will listen. But I think that goes back, sister, to when boys were young and told, you don't cry, you don't show your emotions. That's wrong. I taught my son, it's okay to cry.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be angry. Talk about it. And that's what we've got to encourage these teenage boys and men that it's
Mhm.
okay for them to do that.
Well,
That doesn't make them weak.
you know, even teenage girls. I mean,
Yes,
yeah, they want to.
absolutely.
You know,
Yes.
you've got to
Yes.
be able to reach out to them. You know, I
Yes.
always impressed upon the children in my life that I was there to talk. I didn't
Yes.
care what the subject
No,
was.
that's right. And that's what I tell my grandchildren.
I don't care what the time is
That's
or
right.
anything else. You
That's
know,
right.
if you need to
Need-
talk to me,
Yes.
call me.
Yes. And I tell them the same thing. I don't care. Middle of the night, my phone is next to the bed. I don't care what time it is. Call,
Mm-hmm.
text, I'll come.
Makes my husband a little crazy once in a while.
Getting woke up, but you're always
Who is
available.
calling at 3:00 in the morning? Don't worry about it.
But that's awesome because you're always available,
Mhm.
and they know that.
You know, it was a very important thing for me because I'd seen
Yes.
so many kids in the Kansas City area, especially, that were just lost.
Yes. They needed a friend.
You know,
They
and
needed a friend to reach to.
you know, their parents would kick them out of the house or whatever.
Yes.
That's how I ended up with 89 of them over the years in my
Yes,
house.
in your house.
You know, because people don't want to teach them to speak out.
Speak out. That's right.
You know,
They would rather shut them out than speak with them.
hmm
You know, you're a troublemaker, so get out. Why
Mhm.
not talk to them and try to work it out?
yeah,
Because then if you push them out, then you're just, to me, that's guilt tripping them even more.
Yeah.
Well, then they don't care because they kicked me out. So that, to me, that adds to their depression.
yeah, that adds to the depression, which leads to more drug use or
Yes.
more alcohol or
absolutely.
any of those things, and it all
Yes.
stacks up and
Yeah.
just buries an
Like a time
individual.
bomb. Like
Yeah.
a time bomb. And, and then you
Yeah.
can't, they're afraid to speak out.
hmm
And then, like any bomb, eventually it's going to just detonate. And that's sadly what happens.
You know, they get to that point, and that's just it. You know, there's no
Yes.
way else to
No.
go.
No, the pain is too great.
I
The
want
pain is too
anybody
great.
out there to know there is always some
Absolutely.
place to go.
Yes. Yes.
You know, you need to
Yes.
look for help. You need to find somebody you can talk to. You
Absolutely.
need to find somebody you trust.
Yes. Yes.
You know, whether that's going to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, or you just have
Yes.
a really cool aunt. You know?
Yes. Yes.
You know, reach
Yes.
out to
Reach
somebody.
out. Reach out to strangers.
hmm
I've seen strangers, that, or you can just tell they're compassionate. And I do it. You do it. We know there's other people out there that do it.
Yeah.
Reach out to pastors. I have actually spent 2 days in Freeman Mental Hospital
Mhm.
for depression, and let me tell you what, they are normal, everyday people with problems.
Yeah.
That we all just needed a break from life. It was too overwhelming. I was not suicidal, but I was depressed, and I didn't feel alone when I got in there.
hmm
Because there were so many people, normal people, everyday problems.
Yeah.
We just had to have a break.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so then places are there.
You know, I know whenever I take antidepressants, I'm
I
sure
do
you
too.
probably
I
do.
do too.
There's
Yes.
nothing wrong
Nothing
with an
wrong with it.
antidepressant.
Absolutely
You know,
not.
if it helps even out your
Yes.
feelings and your thought processes, then
Yes.
by all means.
Yes. And please, if they need them, get them. But
Mm-hmm.
I beg people, do not stop them.
Right.
Do not, because that's just as dangerous,
Mhm.
So, and I know many people that do that.
Yeah.
And then when they go back into that cycle of depression, they're like, well, I quit taking my medicine. I'm like, well, that right there is why.
hmm
You take them to fix that chemical imbalance. You can't just stop it,
Right. You know, I know
So-
I felt kind of stigmatized. It's like, okay,
Yes.
they want to put me on antidepressants.
Yes. Yes.
Somebody's going to think I'm psycho.
Psycho. Yes.
I
And we're not.
No, I'm
We're
not.
not. We're normal people.
I was just tired of crying all day
Yes.
long.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and with our young people, I think they've forgotten it's all right to cry.
Yes, it is. Yes.
You know, they always,
Same way with grown men.
Mhm.
It's okay. Grown women.
it's okay to cry.
Yes,
know,
absolutely.
If you want to cry on somebody's shoulder, just come on by.
Yes. Yes,
you know.
absolutely. Both of us. To me, crying is healing.
Mhm.
Uh,
You know, it cleanses all that,
it takes it out. It lets
Hurt.
it come. Yes, absolutely.
and you know,
Absolutely.
we cannot continue to raise our boys thinking
No,
it's weak to cry.
that's right. We've got to change that.
Mhm.
We've got to change it.
And we have to teach our girls, don't just hold it all in.
Right, right. Reach out. Reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out. There are people.
Hmm.
That's like Freeman. The stigma was, well, if you went to a mental hospital like that, you was crazy. No, I'm not crazy.
No,
I was tired in life. And so them places are all around.
but, as
And it's
people might
okay.
remember from last
Yes.
week, Laura has a lot of health issues.
Yes. And that's what my depression was.
My friend
And-
here is dying on me, but I'm just
Yes,
not going to let her
yes.
do it for a few months.
I still got the Lord's work to do. And as
Mhm.
long as I can, I will, sis. I'll be here going.
It's like,
Yes.
okay, fine. I get all
Yes.
these weird diseases and brain tumors and everything
Yes.
else. And it's like, you're not taking me out yet because I know
No, that's
God's
right.
got more to do.
Amen. Yes, absolutely.
Besides
And that's how
that,
we live. Yes, absolutely. With
Yeah.
that mindset.
you have to keep your mind straight in order to deal with
Yes.
any of it.
With any of it. Yes, absolutely.
Now, I'm sure your sister and you probably heard from numerous people. Okay, they committed suicide. They're going straight to hell.
Yes, yes. And what an awful thing to say to a grieving parent.
Yeah, that is
not so.
that's
That
horrible.
is not so. It is.
And I don't want anybody to ever say
No.
that to somebody. There is
No.
nothing in this book
No.
right here, this Holy Bible,
Hallelujah.
that says that a person who
No.
commits
No.
suicide is going to hell.
No, not at all. Not at all. No.
God understands illness.
Yes.
God
Yes.
understands depression. And
Absolutely.
he understands that you have something wrong with you in some
Yes.
fashion and you are hurting so bad
Yes. Yes.
that this is the only option you
Option.
think is open to
Yes.
you.
Yes. That's right.
And, so if you have a friend or you have a family member that has had someone that has committed suicide in their life, please never say that.
Never. And if someone says that to them in your presence, I would stop them.
correct them.
Correct them right then. Don't
this person
because that's a
was-
burden to
Yeah.
hear that as a parent or
Yeah.
spouse or
It builds up in the back of your mind and you're
Yes.
thinking it forever and you're thinking, I'm never going to see my
see 'em
child again.
Yes.
And
Yes.
God understands that they did this because of a sickness, a
Yes.
hurt,
Yes.
a deep depression,
Absolutely.
whatever the case may be.
Yes.
They didn't do this
No.
in spite.
No, absolutely not. No.
They just couldn't figure out another way.
Yes. That's right.
We've got to figure out how to open up communication
Yes.
with
Yes.
everybody.
With
Look at our
everybody.
United States right now.
Yes.
There's no communication.
No communication. None.
It's just attack mode all the time. It
Yes.
seems like.
Yes.
Yes. And we've got to figure out how to reach out in our own lives
Yes.
and remove these stigmas and remove
Yes.
these, all this
Absolutely.
stuff that's going
The
on.
hate, the anger.
I didn't grow up in this America.
No,
Okay.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I don't like it. And I know you don't either.
I will say something, fine, maybe in the 60s we were all a little weird.
But there wasn't all
70s.
this fighting, right?
No, but it was love and peace at that
Yeah,
point.
absolutely. Absolutely. I'd go
Yeah.
back to that time anytime.
Summer love, that's where we
Yes.
all started. But
Yes.
now it seems like people just cannot communicate nicely.
No, not at all.
There's
Not at
no
all.
understanding of, if you have no understanding of your neighbor, how are you going to have understanding for this person in your life that is hurting so much?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's
Yes.
something we need to realize, that it is our duty and our
Yes.
obligation
Yes.
to try to cut off all this hate and discontent that's
Absolutely.
leading to so much death.
Yes, absolutely. And not feed into it. We've got to cut it. We've got to break that.
Mm-hmm.
But with the media feeding it so bad, I know you do, and I like to watch the national news,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't watch it all the time because there's so much hate.
Yeah.
And
And so many of the television programming and
yes,
the news and stuff, I mean, you're inundated with negative,
negative, negative, negative,
negative,
negative,
negative.
negative. And then you're already depressed. So then you're getting all that other negative right in there with
Yeah.
all that depression,
You
which
just-
makes it worse.
You know, you're just burying yourself deeper in a
Yes.
dark hole
Yes.
that is difficult to get out
Get
of.
out of. Yes.
If you get
Yes.
yourself in that hole, like I say, you can call
Either one
us.
of us.
Call
Yes,
the
you
National
sure can.
Suicide
Hotline.
Helpline.
That's
You know,
right.
whatever you need to do.
Yes.
But reach out.
Reach out.
You need to
Reach
find
out. You're not crazy. You're not crazy. They
Yeah.
say I feel crazy. You're not crazy.
No,
You're human. You're
yeah.
dealing with, like you said, illness, sickness, whatever,
You know,
finances, jobs,
you don't even know what you're dealing with.
No, that's right.
If
Because
you
you hear
don't,
people say, I feel horrible and I don't know why.
Mhm.
It's the depression.
Yeah, there's a depression or something in there.
Yes.
You know, it's so easy for our bodies to get off kilter
Yes.
these days.
Absolutely.
You know, we don't know what we're eating.
No.
I mean,
No, that's right. That all the chemicals in our food. Absolutely.
chemicals and
Yes.
antibiotics and stuff
Antibiotic. Yes.
in our food. You know, we have no really clue of what we're eating, and it could be that something as simple as changing your diet could change your head.
Yes. Yes. That's right.
you
That's
know.
right.
And it would be so much more helpful if people would just take the time
Yes.
to communicate.
Yes. Yes.
know.
That would solve a lot of our problems.
You know, and then you have to separate responsibility from blame when it comes to
Yes.
suicide.
Definitely.
Uh,
Definitely.
You know, if you try to find someone to blame, which most everybody does,
Everybody will try. Yes.
you know, whether it's blaming yourself, blaming,
Yes.
you know, your ex-husband,
Yes.
or blaming God.
Yes.
It doesn't do any good to blame
No.
them. That
No.
because the blame lies only with that pain,
Yes.
grief, depression,
Yes.
addiction,
Absolutely.
or any other mental health issue.
Yes. Yes.
You know, that's
Yes.
where the blame lies.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
you have to also remember that you are not responsible
No.
for their death.
No. Not at all.
There's, you know,
Not at all.
they are responsible,
Yes. Yes.
but you can't really even blame them
No.
because they don't
Of
know
their
what.
illness. Right.
Yeah, you
That's
have to
right.
blame the illness.
Yes. Yes.
And you know, if you think back, also saying, "Well, I should have paid attention to this, or I should have done more at this point," and so forth, doesn't do you any good.
No, it will not. It'll make it worse for yourself.
You know, because even mental health professionals
Yes.
will miss the
Absolutely.
signs.
They do. Yes.
You know,
It happens.
you can miss those signs, even though you thinking back on it, you're thinking it's right in front of
Yes.
your face.
Right. Right.
And you should have noticed. Well, not if professionals can't notice it all the time, how
That's
do you
right. How
can
can
you
you?
expect yourself?
That's right. That's
Um,
right.
And then after the fact, you know, you've also got to look forward.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I think that's probably one of the hardest things, especially for your sister, really, because she had
Yes.
she lost two
Two
sons.
sons, 6 weeks apart.
You know, she's got to learn to reflect on the good times
Good.
that they had.
Yes. Yes.
Instead of feeling guilty about moving on without them or so
Yes.
forth, you know.
Yes.
Remember, they want you to be happy.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
That's all they ever wanted.
That's
in life,
all.
You know,
Yes.
You know,
That's
it's
right.
you know, and don't feel guilty about that. You know, remember
No.
your good times.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Set up a little memorial to them or
Yes.
something.
Yes.
But you've got to move on with your own life.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
continue that walk.
Yes. Absolutely. They would want you to.
You know,
They would want you to.
and I know at least one of your nephews knew the Lord.
Yes.
I'm not
Yes.
sure about the other one, but I knew one of them did. And your sister can relax in the thought that she'll see him again.
Right. Right.
You know, your
Yes.
sister believes in the Lord and so
Absolutely.
forth. And,
Yes.
you know, that's one of the ways we help get her through. We had that
Yes.
prayer.
Yes. We had a
Then
prayer group. Yes.
We had a prayer group.
Yes.
We sent her cards of encouragement. We
Yes.
did whatever
Birthday
we
cards,
could.
whatever holiday cards.
Mhm.
Yes. Just to encourage her
Yeah.
and let her know she was being thought of and loved and prayed for.
Yeah. And nobody was judging her because her
No,
sons were dead.
Not at all. No. And none of
Yeah.
us said, well, they're going to go to hell. No.
Mhm.
we all encouraged her, no, you will see them.
But you definitely, I know you called me during that period of time
Yes.
asking me
Yes,
if a
because
suicide person would go to hell.
yes, because I was with her, so much at that time, my husband and I,
Mm-hmm.
and several people said it. Well, I'm like, no, I don't believe that. So yes, I reached out to you
Yeah.
because I said, no, I believe God knew their heart. They were hurting.
Yeah.
They were hurting.
Fine. God does say, um, one of the commandments is against murder
Right.
and so forth. But, fine, suicide is a form of self-murder,
Murder.
but
Right.
you have to understand the illness behind it.
Yes. Yes.
And God will never turn away somebody
no,
with an illness.
no, no.
And God knows
And
that illness.
That's right. Yes.
You know,
And they both had that illness,
Mhm.
depression, bad. And
like I say, you and I both
yes.
take antidepressants and so forth.
Yes.
I know probably, I don't know how many people on antidepressants.
Probably about every person I know, just about.
Yeah,
you
getting
know,
close to that.
Or sometime in their life had been.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So those are the things that you have to keep in mind. And if you have somebody in your life that's had a family member commit suicide,
yes.
don't judge them.
No, please
Um,
don't.
And don't ever tell them that their child is going to hell.
Hell, no,
You know,
no.
even if they're not Christian, don't tell them
Don't
their
tell them
child's
that.
going to hell.
No, because then they live with that the rest of their life. It makes
Mhm.
them feel guilty.
Yeah.
I'll never see him again. I'll never see him again.
And you can't do that to someone.
No.
You have to remember to lift those people up,
Yes.
hold them close. And if nothing else, if they want to strike out and scream and
Yes.
yell, then fine, give them a hug and let them yell.
Yell, absolutely. Absolutely. We would laugh. We would cry so hard till we would laugh at each other.
Mm-hmm.
We had to.
Yeah.
That's what got us through some days.
That's really about
And
the only thing you can do.
Absolutely,
Right?
yes.
You can't
Yes.
allow the world to knock you down
No,
for something that's not your fault.
not your fault. It's not your fault at all.
It's never your fault.
No,
It's never the family's fault. It's never the
No,
husband, wife, mother, father,
No.
whatever the case may
no
be.
way. No.
Is an end to a
Pain. Yes.
And
Yes.
so don't let anybody tell you anything otherwise.
No, that's right. That's right.
You cannot protect and uplift your fellow person
Right.
if all you want to do is reflect on the negative
Yes.
and tell them things that you've
Condemn
not
them.
you've
Yes.
not understood for yourself.
That's right.
Don't be repeating things that you've heard
Absolutely.
from the Catholic Church or the funny paper.
From what, 542? Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some gentleman in 542 AD deciding that, you're going to hell
Yes.
is not the ruler of the world.
No, absolutely not.
God's in
Our
charge,
Lord
and
is.
so are
That's
we.
right. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
We all just have to understand our own concept and get by
Yes.
as much as we can. But
Yes.
you have to understand the uplifting portion. That's your job.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
That's our job. If somebody's had a suicide in their family, reach
Yes,
out to them.
Reach out. Yes.
They may push you away, but that's okay.
Keep going
Just
back.
keep going back.
Keep going back. Remind them how much you love them and that you're there for them.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister, has said, please talk about my boys.
Mhm.
Please talk about it.
Yeah. If you
know.
don't talk about, you can't just erase them from life.
No, and you don't want to. And you
No.
don't want to.
And if she wants to talk about her sons, she has the ability to do so.
Yes.
She should be allowed to talk
To do
about
that.
them no matter what.
Yes. And she said, don't be afraid to say their names to me because I love them.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. They're gone, but I still love them.
Yeah.
So,
That love doesn't end.
No, that love will never end.
But
So
if you're thinking about committing suicide, like I say, reach out to somebody.
Reach out.
Talk to
Absolutely.
somebody.
Yes. Yes.
I don't care if you have to go down and talk to some guy on the street
That's
corner
right.
just because he's the only
That's
one
right.
that wants to listen that day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to reach out to somebody.
Yes, you do. And if you're not afraid to step out of your own comfort zone, if you see someone down, I was down here in Springfield at a thrift store and a woman was just sitting and crying. And the
Mhm.
Lord nudged me to go to her. And she said, will you pray for me? And of course I did.
Yeah.
I didn't know her from Adam, but I didn't care. I could tell she was hurting and she needed someone.
Um,
So,
well, I guess they've signaled our time is up this morning. We hope that you may have gained something from our program,
yes,
and
yes.
we'll
Thank
see you
you.
next week. Thank you
Yes.
so much.